Hey guys, welcome to My Map Wednesday here at Typology Corner. It's Rachel Castile here, and today I just want to talk about all things OP, objective personality, Myers-Briggs. What does it mean for us really? What is it even talking about? It might just seem like a bunch of letters, a bunch of codes, and yeah, I want to just make it more practical, talk about how it's helped me, and aim to give you a picture of the benefits of knowing your objective personality type. So I personally am an ESTP, and the full objective personality, that's double masculine ESTP. It's about to be mumbo jumbo if you don't know, but for those that do, SETI is my savior functions, and then the animal stack, which is describing your energy. How does your energy flow? What do you prioritize energy-wise? And mine is consume, play, blast, sleep. So that being said, the root of objective personality is Myers-Briggs. Well, what is Myers-Briggs? It started with Isabel Briggs Myers and Catherine Briggs, I believe. Yeah, mom and daughter. They studied Carl Jung's psychological types. I forget the dates and all that right now. It's not in my head. But yeah, they studied his psychological types, which was showing what cognitive processes are in different types of minds. So you have like the introverted sensor, the extroverted sensor mind, the introverted feeler, the extroverted feeler, the introverted thinker, the extroverted thinker, the introverted intuitive, the extroverted intuitive. Let's go this way. Yeah, I'm out on the trails. I was like out in the middle of like just the park, and it's so windy today. I needed the trees. But so he talked about those, he wrote those archetypes, and they basically took his work and made an assessment with it, brought it to market for helping people actually be able to see like what jobs are good for them in the industrial age. So that was the beginning of the Myers-Briggs type indicator. That's what MBTI stands for. And it's a 4 cognitive stack of how you make decisions and what information you're most attuned to. So it's looking at 4 dichotomies: if you're an introvert or an extrovert, so I or E; if you're a sensor or an intuitive, like intuition or sensing for the type of information you notice or rely on, so S and N; and then for decision making, thinking and feeling. Do you make decisions based on values, feelings, or logic? The thinking, logic, reasons, and as a more dominant go-to. And then if you're a judger or a perceiver type, and that's J or P. So that is whether you're more decisive or as a perceiver, you're more open-ended. You're taking in information first, then making a decision. The judger is living from their decision and kind of letting that guide the information that they consume in a way. So the preference of whichever one is dominant for you, it's how you approach the world. It's how your mind works. So My Map Wednesday is all about the mind. And that's the core thing of the basis of Myers-Briggs, what it's looking at. And basically, from those 4 dichotomies, when you have the different variations of it, that becomes 16 core personality types. So you may have heard of 16personalities.com. They write up like a general archetype of those 16 different types of people. And so my 4-letter code is ESTP. And so on the surface, you could write a description about the type, but what it's really at its core is the cognitive functions that Carl Jung was talking about. So when it got marketed, it's easier to market it as just a description, a behavior thing you can recognize. But here at My Map Wednesday, it's all about us seeing our actual cognition. How does our mind work? And each type has 4 cognitive functions. And from there, you basically have a dominant, secondary, a tertiary, and then an inferior at the bottom. This is the beginning of the Myers-Briggs understanding of things. And so yeah, your dominant gifting is at the top. Basically, an extrovert, their dominant process is oriented towards the world. It's an extroverted process. So on an axis, their last function is internal at the bottom. And then, so extroverts, we're all kind of like ambiverts. Extroverts' first process is external. Their secondary process is introverted. Their third process is extroverted. Then their last process is introverted. And for introverts, it's the other way around. An introvert is an introvert because their dominant process is internal. So that leaves them needing to go back inside to recharge. How they show up in the world is people are meeting more of the secondary process of their mind. And yeah, so in other words, whatever is oriented outward is what the world can see. So extroverts, you're interacting with their dominant process, unless they're hiding it. But I've been able to kind of live super contained most of my life. But my dominant process is extroverted sensing, which is all about the 5 senses. Hence why I love just being outside. Yeah, not that only SE types like being outside, but we very much like the here and now, exploration and all that. So yeah, that's the structure of the 4 functions. So introverts will be introverted function first, secondarily an extroverted process, third an introverted process, and lastly the 4th one at the bottom will be an extroverted process. So from there, that is the core, like seeing why that type behaves that way. So you can look up the cognitive functions of any of the 16 types in the world of MBTI. Now, what objective personality did, they just took it to a whole nother level. They've gone in tracking way more patterns than just 16. Because truthfully, when you look around at all the people in the world, there is more variation than just 16 people. So if you were to put it in 16 boxes, yes, that's still true. But within those 16 is a lot more variation. And that's where objective personality comes into play. They recognize not only the cognitive functions, but which functions are masculine, which ones are feminine. So now you're starting to get this variation of, you could have a double masculine ESTP, a double feminine ESTP. You could have a FM ESTP and a MF ESTP. So they are tracking whatever your sensory process is it masculine or feminine? And then the extroverted decider, is that masculine or feminine? And that's what that 2 code is. It's also related to how you learn. If you're a kinesthetic learner, an audio learner, a visual learner, a tester learner, it all depends on what your modality is. That's the term for the whether it's masculine or feminine. They call it sexual modalities of the type. Then on top of that, they are tracking savior functions. Savior, they use a term called savior or demon. And what it means is just savior is the thing you feel responsible for. It's what you're almost addicted to. You rely on it, you trust it. Then the demon is the one that you don't feel as, whoa, there's a bug on the ground and it was so loud. It sounded like a bike coming up behind me. But anyways, so yeah, the demon process is more, it feels uncomfortable. It's something that you struggle with, or it's easy to just be like, oh, they do that, I'm not responsible for that other half of myself kind of thing. And the core idea is like, between sensing and intuition, thinking and feeling, we have all 4 of those. But 2 of those is a savior for us, the other 2 are demons. But what I'm seeing and what I love about objective personality is that it's not just like using your personality as an excuse to just stay the way you are. It's more like you are holistic, you are all of those things. And the more you become aware of your patterns, of what you're doing, you can wake up to the fullness of all that you are, and you can begin to become more balanced and aware of how to tend to those areas of your life too, without like that just piling up and becoming like a big issue in the corner kind of thing. So yeah, so that's that next part, so basically I'll use me as an example. As an ESTP, my cognitive functions is extroverted sensing, introverted thinking, extroverted feeling, then introverted intuition at the bottom. And my savior functions, I am the standard type, which is SE and the TI. The first two being my savior functions. But there are other ESTPs who are jumper types who are prioritizing the extroverted feeling, jumping the introverted thinking. So like an even more extroverted person who's relying on the extroverted processes dominantly, and that the TI decision making is more uncomfortable for them. So yeah, that's the core about saviors and demons terminology that they added, which is very accurate for understanding the fullness of how you're created. And so yeah, now next to that is energy. Energy is the next thing that I love that they're tracking, is how you use your functions. So in us all having the 4 functions, there's a term called animals that is an energy related thing. The animals is using 2 functions together to do an action, to do some type of process. And the 4 animals is consume, blast, play, and sleep. And consume is taking information for the self, like learning, absorbing, taking in. Blast is taking known information and sharing it with the tribe. Play is just the extroverted 2 processes, being out in the tribe, interacting, pinging back and forth, that real-time receptiveness and giving, and that whole being with and sharing, and not even necessarily sharing, but yeah, it is sharing. It's just that receptive to the now moment, that present moment interaction sort of stuff, being in the midst of something. And then sleep is the 2 introverted processes where you're inside your mind, you're reflecting, you're going over what you believe, you're going over what you've experienced, you're coming to a conclusion, you're making some internal resolve on something. So it's that internal processing. And so we have an order of what comes natural to us. We have 2 savior animals and 2 demon animals. And the order, it speaks a lot about how you use your energy. And then also that speaks to maybe the balance that you need, the things you need to work on. So it's a really great map, the full picture. When you get your whole type, you see what functions you're using, what type you are, what's masculine, what's feminine, what's saviors, what's demons, how do you use your energy, what does balance look like for you, what does growth look like for you. It's a total map of the way you were created, the way your mind works, what's energizing, what's life-giving to you. You can see that, what's fulfilling. And like going back to the core idea that Isabel and Catherine in Myers-Briggs, what they created was to bring this to the population, to help them navigate their life, to help them see what careers are a good fit, what would be fulfilling to them. And with objective personality, all the more, it's an incredible personal growth tool, self-awareness tool. It helps you be free from comparison, but to know what your path is, what change you need in your life. I love it. I've been studying Myers-Briggs since like right out of high school. I went to this business training event with Danny Johnson, and she's a multimillionaire, teaches on business skills, people skills, money management, time management, stuff like that. But she talked about 4 personality types, and she divided the room up into 4 groups of people based on their core motivation. And that was fascinating. It just like illuminated something I was seeing. Like I knew that was really significant, that we need to know the way we're wired. And from there I found Myers-Briggs, and I've been studying it ever since for over 10 years. And yeah, it's my passion to help other people see themselves on that level, to understand the life that's meant for them. And you can't really do that if you're not self-aware. So that's what Typology Corner is all about, the journey of self-awareness, seeing yourself, loving yourself, discovering the life that's meant for you. So something else I didn't really hit on that I'll add to this video, a little bit on the cognitive function. So, this term in objective personality, they really have categorized these things in ways that you're able to learn these concepts in a simplified, trackable way that is not too deep. You know, it can sound like a bunch of mumbo jumbo, but they reorganize the functions into 4 categories. Well, I'll start with 2: observers and deciders. I love the terms because they're so usable and practical. Observers and deciders. The observers can be, it's a cicada. I think that's what they're called. It's just flopping on the ground. But, so yeah, observers, we have an introverted observer. Think of that as known information. Things I've already observed, things I've already experienced, be it facts. You could think sensing as like the facts, the concrete information, the trackable evidence, the actual experience, what happened, right? So as an introverted observer, it could be known facts or known patterns. So the world of intuition is more imagination. It's more patterns, abstract, things that you noticed about something that's not necessarily there, but you see what's going on behind the scenes. It's the assumption, the possibility. So we all have an introverted observer. Some types have introverted sensing. Some types have introverted intuition. None of us have both in that sense. It is something that's, I would say, there winds up being 8 cognitive functions. 4 are in our consciousness and 4 are kind of in the shadow. So what I'm studying is looking at the conscious 4, the accessible 4, and finding balance within that. It's not so much trying to be completely what you're not, but it's more so you are all that you are and learning to be all that you are. So that being said, we all have an introverted observer, either introverted sensing or introverted intuition. Introverted intuition is like basically seeing the pattern behind something. You see what something could be because you've seen this multiple times and it always led to this. It's that sense of like tracking the pattern and making decisions based on the known pattern. Introverted sensing is tracking the details, tracking the experiences, the things that you've walked through and living in accordance to what it's taught you in a sense. And then, so as observers, there's also extroverted observers. We all have an extroverted observer process. So that could be extroverted sensing or extroverted intuition. Extroverted sensing is the concrete, the gathering in. Think of if a function can be oriented outward towards the world around you, it can be oriented inward. And extroverted processes are not looking at the self, they're looking around. So by nature of it being an observation process, it's taking in information for the self, it's gathering in new. So you're either gathering in concrete information or intuitive information. So extroverted sensing types, they are taking in present moment information from the world around them. Like it makes them novelty seeking with the 5 senses. So it's just looking at the evidence. It wants to be something that's factual, that's concrete, something that is tangible. Think of it very much this realm sort of information. Now, in contrast, the other one is extroverted intuition, and that is more the possibilities, what could be. It's inherently really creative. It's looking at what something could become. It's seeing what's not there. It's seeing what could be. So it's like, think of it as gathering in the possibilities, what something could become, what we could create this into. So it's that sense of not wanting to stick with what is, but changing it, innovating it. So yeah, your extroverted intuitive is always seeing behind the scenes of what could be in the moment, and it's just expanding. Versus introverted intuition is narrowing down to a point, narrowing down on a specific path, a specific vision. Extroverted intuition is more expansive And yeah, it loves the novelty of the mind, like intellectual exploration versus like extroverted sensor. Here I am. It's like physical exploration. Like it's like mine's more like this conquering sort of energy that's very exploratory in the real world in a way. So 2 forms of gathering. We all have one of the 2. Whether it's our last function, our first function, our second, our third, wherever it is, we all have an extroverted observer process where we're taking in new information from the world around us. Yeah, so that's how that works. Now, the next category is decision making. So observers, now deciders. There are 4 decider functions divided in the categories of, I was like, man, I need some water, but I'm good. I am bringing none. It's in my car. But so yeah, in the world of decision making, we have an introverted decider process, and then we have an extroverted decider process. So introverted deciding is related to identity, knowing your own personal, where you stand on something, who you are, what you value, what you believe, your own understanding. So yeah, depending on if it's introverted feeling, that's more essentially, I'll backtrack. So everybody has one of these 2, either introverted feeling or introverted thinking. And for the feelers, it's more about values, it's more about your own morale, your own likes and dislikes, and things of that nature. So yeah, so introverted feeling is more, I guess I would almost say individualistic in the sense, like even introverted thinking too, but introverted feeling is what you like, what you value, where you land on something, what you're drawn to, and living, you could almost say authenticity, right? Introverted feeling is the awareness of the self, and authenticity is being in touch with that and living from that. So we all have this process, if it's at the top or the bottom, wherever it is. Some people who lead with it would it would be easier for them to live in alignment with that. If it's at the bottom, it's harder to find that. So yeah, and then introverted thinking is like my personal reasons, my personal understanding, my own logic. I need to make sense of this myself. I'm building my own logic blocks, my own my own process or understanding of life, and I'm living in accordance to that. So that's 2 types of identity processes of decision making. Then in the extroverted world, we have thinking and feeling extrovertedly focused. So what does that look like? If it's extroverted thinking is the logic of the collective. It's the reasons of the collective. What makes sense for all of us? How do we make this more efficient? How do we move the community forward? How do we move this company forward? How do we get results? It's looking at, think of it, the reasons of everybody. So if you think like TI and FI is looking at the self, it's narrowing down, like this works for me, this, I value this. Think of the extroverted spectrum as the opposite. It's a keen awareness of everyone else. So an extroverted decider is the term. That is the umbrella. There's 2 types, extroverted thinking or extroverted feeling. But what they have in common, it's an awareness of the spectrum of other people. And for thinking, it's more, I like to use the example of like innovating a product, that if you're the engineer who is responsible for improving the product, you're reading all the reviews, all like, oh, this product's great, it's amazing, it's better than all the other things I've had. You're like, okay, good review, read another one. And then this other one's like, loved it, but the screws didn't fit. They're like, okay. This person's like, yeah, the peg didn't fit in just right. And so they're like, okay, we need to refine this so that this works for everybody. And so yeah, that's what that's like. for the world of now for extroverted feeling, it's more the extroverted spectrum of what people value. Like, what is the collective, what do they need, it's almost like what is popular. It's like looking at the values of the collective, and seeing that an extroverted feeler would make a decision that is harmonious with the whole group. It's looking at getting a little distracted, but I'm pushing through. I'm getting good. But so extroverted feeling is knowing and being in tune with the community, knowing what they feel, being aware of others more than aware of yourself. And that's a natural gifting of people who are wired that way. And so in a way, like, they're less in tune with their own identity, but they're in tune with other people. And an example I like to use is like choosing a restaurant. If you're with a group of friends, the extroverted feeler is like hearing what everybody likes, and they're hearing the consensus and making a decision that will work for all of them. They didn't really check in with the self. They're like, might be aware, like, oh, it's not my favorite, but like I can compromise because I want to make an extroverted feeling decision in this moment. So it's a form of decision making. Let's see what else to say about that. So yeah, it's being in tune with others, in tune with the values of others, society, what is socially appropriate. It could be kind of embellishing of emotion just to raise the morale, things like that of that nature. And so in the end, we have one of these extroverted deciders. Every single person. You either have extroverted thinking, you have introverted feeling, whether it's a savior, whether it's a demon, whether you value it or you don't, you got it. You got one of the two. And so you get a wide variety of different types of people depending on the order of these functions, which ones you prioritize, which ones you don't. And you're made to bring something to the world that is unique, that is related to the way that you're created. And so though it is a deeper science in terms of, there is a lot to it. I get it. Like, to understand the anatomy of your soul, it is a journey that you have to want to be on. And but upon doing it, it's really, really life-changing to like understand this at its core, like to see like what your gifts are. So so that's my heart in doing that and teaching and demonstrating that. And I do want to like bring it more to life and just in my own explorations here on the channel, and to show you like practically what this stuff is like. So, you know, like we learn about anatomy, we go to college to learn all these different things. Like, they're very much real. It's a study of the soul. And yeah, you might learn body anatomy. This is soul anatomy. This is how your soul works, how it functions. And yeah, so let's see what else to add. I think that's about it. I just wanted to give you a picture of what is objective personality, what is Myers-Briggs, how is it useful in your life. And yeah, you have a unique growth path. And the more you know that about yourself, the more you have that for the rest of your life. Like, that awareness and that understanding is something that is available, and it really can transform your ability to find out what alignment even looks like for you, what is fulfilling for you. So yeah, if you're someone who's been looking for that, looking to know what sets you apart, maybe you struggled with comparing yourself to others all of your life. You saw other people's gifts but couldn't see your own, or you know, maybe what you are was like spoken against, or all of that is now for you as an individual to find what is truth, what were you created for. That's your own discovery journey, and that's what I aim to do. If you're wanting to know your type, go to my website, typologycorner.com. I'd love to meet with you, love to help you discover the real you. Sorry about the wind if it's really coming on in the camera here, but yeah, check out my website, book a session. For objective personality, the way my typing works, I will have you record a video around an hour long, and it's going to be life questions that's going to have you just naturally talking about your life. Your patterns will show up in it. I'm able to see that through you answering the different questions that I'll email to you after you book your session. You record the video, upload it to YouTube as an unlisted video, and then I will listen to that video. It needs to be book the session out far enough that you can get the video back to me. And the session is on Zoom. We meet on Zoom for 1 hour, and I help you. I will basically show you what I saw. If there's any final questions or little things that I was unsure on, maybe one little part, we'll narrow that down in that hour session. And you'll get a total read, a total write-up on all your giftings, all your patterns, what growth looks like for you, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses. You'll have a total map of your growth path and the uniqueness of you. And honestly, you'll understand yourself deeper than you knew possible. So that is what it's all about. It's been beautiful to watch a lot of my clients be able to benefit from that knowledge and how it's helped them to grow a lot, but just honestly to love themselves, to know themselves, and to find what is truly fulfilling in their life. So yeah, guys. If you got value out of this, go on ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Facebook, whatever platform you're seeing this, follow me, get involved, and stick around for more Mind Map Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, I'm talking about all things the mind. It could be all over the place, whatever. And even if you have some content requests, questions, I'd love to hear that. If you're looking for a community to grow in as well, I have a private Patreon community with a Discord server of people just chatting about all things type, personal growth, the soul. And I also offer private questions there where I'll make a personal video on whatever it is that you're asking about, that you're processing. I'll make a video every weekend. When I have questions, I'll make a video answering the questions. And yeah, so that community is there for you. Links in the description as well on the Patreon. And yeah, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for the next one.